Last talk of this session is by Dr. P.K. Pradhan. He is additional professor in SGPGI and he is going to talk about teleconsultation and tele-follow-up in nuclear medicine.
I think you have all listened in the last few speakers with the teleradiology. I also belong to the same branch called telenuclear medicine, but I'll take you through a different path. In nuclear medicine is basically the utility of radioisotopes for the care of the patients, for diagnosis as well as for therapy. So my passion lies a little bit with the therapy rather than imaging. Of course, without imaging you can't do therapy. That you have to clearly remember. So imaging has really impact in the world in the last few decades. So I think you all have listened to teleradiology solutions. Now coming back to telenuclear medicines, I was just going through that really somebody has given importance in 2002, only the American Society, the Society of Nuclear Medicine USA has made a guideline that just to interpret routine studies at a remote location, that is all expected in imaging setup, and or to interpret emergency studies, what you saw from Dr. Arjun Kalyanpur in a on-call setting that like you can interpret, or to provide consultation for any kind of patients, like for opinion or for a new consultations. So you can show the image. But they didn't emphasize regarding neither the tele follow-up or anything. That is probably because that was too early to. And coming to the European Association's definitions of telenuclear medicine, is telenuclear medicine is a branch of general telemedicine, which is the transmission of medical data from one point to another as usual, for the purpose of consultation or interpretation by any medical professionals. But coming to telecare or telehealth, which is more patient-centric, I think that has not been addressed in telenuclear medicine. What my endeavor for the last decade is how the care of nuclear medicine will go to telecare or telehealth, so that it will be much more popularized in any kind of slow-growing cancer or a chronic disease management strategies. Hopefully you can innovate yourself and see the model. And so this is the definition of telenuclear medicine, which is done by the European Society, mostly European Board of Nuclear Medicine. Telemedicine must be seen as an application of the generalized development of servers for the archiving or communication of radiological pictures, or historical or dermatological or ophthalmological images, any kind of image you can send, and laboratory results and clinical data frequency centralized in an electronic patient record. I think you are all aware about the hospital information system where we have an electronic patient record. And the transmission of these data can take place by the simple exchange of CD-ROMs, local or extended area through LAN, MAN or WAN, or the internet, which is of late everybody is utilizing now internet, and probably the web-based platform will be the answer for this. And or some kind of dedicated health network as you utilize like VPN. I'll just show you a case example what we are doing for the almost since the last 2001. Only one example so that you can see. What we have focused on is thyroid cancers. The reason for focusing is we have observed that from Tripura to Lucknow, we are based at Lucknow in SGPGI, there is no center for radioiodine therapy for thyroid cancer. This is a standard form of therapy for thyroid cancer. Following surgery, all patients need radioiodine, and all patients need follow-up for lifelong, whether it is low risk, intermediate risk or high risk. Mostly people stratify them to low risk, intermediate and high risk, and all needs follow-up. Why there is so much of emphasis? Because this is only one cancer which has at least treatment and has an excellent prognosis. You see, the prognosis in Western world is almost 90%, which doesn't happen in our country, because majority of the patients, you know, in cancer as a thumb rule, they present 2/3 of the cancer at advanced stages because of the lack of awareness, and 1/3 only present as early stage. So obviously the management will differ in comparison to the Western countries. But the standard management all over the world is the cornerstone is the surgery, then subsequently the radioactive iodine ablation of the tissues and metastatic, and also thyroxine suppression. These are the three modalities which plays an important role. And subsequently the tele follow-up, which is very important for thyroid cancer, because in the initial 5 to 7 years they have recurrence, That's why there should be aggressive follow-up for around 5 to 7 years, and subsequently at least 2 yearly or 3 yearly for whole lifelong, because sometimes thyroid cancer can recur after 30 years when patients have forgotten that they have some disease. That do happen. That's the reason they need lifelong follow-up at timed interval. And thus we have a very large population. We utilize roughly around 1200 millicurie of radioiodine per week for radioiodine therapy for thyroid cancer. So we thought, why not utilize a telemedicine tool for really making them follow up, so that decrease our own burden of a follow-up in the hospital itself. Because physically when they come with our societal cultures approves you to take 4 attendants along with 1 patient. You all know, even if you explain them very simply that you need only 1 attendant, still they will come with another 3 attendants. So that's the reason we thought that we can decrease the load. So our objective was to assess whether the telemedicine tool for the management of patients with thyroid cancer in the form of tele-referral, that means prior to coming, they should be scheduled, they should know the doctor, what is the expense, how do they come up, what is the procedure, all have been explained in the tele-referral. And the teleconsultation along with the doctor who has operated and also the tele-follow-up, which is a very vital part of this. So our study was basically to evaluate the suitability of telemedicine tool for selection of patients for radioiodine therapy following surgery, which is roughly almost all patients get radioiodine excepting few who have diagnostic difficulty, like they are not needed. If it is not well differentiated thyroid cancer, suppose sometimes there is medullary thyroid cancer, there is lymphoma, there are other form of thyroid cancer who are more rarer. And also for follow-up of following radioiodine therapy, that is for a response of radioiodine therapy, whether the patient is taking thyroxine or not, because thyroxine is a very important component of the thyroid cancer management for lifelong. And to see the recurrence which can be studied. And till today, I am just grossly telling you because of the lack of time, there are new patients, almost we have seen approximately 100. All found suitable for radioactive radioiodine therapy excepting few. I think I remember very clearly that we have only 5 to 6 patients which didn't require radioiodine therapy. Directly from Cuttack itself, we told that they don't need radioiodine therapy because their diagnosis is medullary thyroid cancer or lymphoma or anaplastic carcinoma. Otherwise, the rest majority require, and the admission dates were finalized, that is the referral consultation. Instruction for radioiodine therapy has been conveyed because in our country, in comparison to Western country, there is a drastic difference. Majority of our patients gets thyroxines. We have to stop thyroxine for increasing the TSH for radioiodine therapy, whereas in Western worlds, they are utilizing a recombinant human TSH which costs around $1,100. So ours is a little older method what we are following because of the lack of money. So obviously you have to explain them clearly that once you come here, you have to off thyroxine for 4 weeks. And we have done a follow-up of around 366 patients. There might be repeated follow-up which we have not analyzed. And we found that around 50.5%, almost 50% patients are disease-free. So they need not come up to our hospital. They can be followed up from Cuttack, which we have collaborated with our surrogate examiner, Professor Mohanty, who is a surgeon basically. He also has passion for the thyroid cancer management. So he is our surrogate examiner, and we are following since 2001, and these are the cases. What really we get benefit out of it, we can directly interact with the patient through telemedicine. We have an indirect clinical examination through Dr. Mohanty, who is the examiner. What I envisage is, even if Dr. Mohanty is not there, for a specific disease, you can really train some paramedics and get these things done. It's not necessarily that a professor or a really trained doctor has to be there for this. But it is always better if it is available. And the compliance of thyroxine, whether the patient is taking thyroxine in the similar dose or in the suppressive dose, because it is a little different dose than thyrotoxicosis. And there is local recurrence are there or not. And there is whether there is a need for further high dose radioactive iodine or there is a need for other imaging like PET CT or something in some situation. Or the patients can go for. So what we basically utilize is a live evaluation through existing telemedicine link between our hospital, SCPGI, and the SCB Medical College, Cuttack, with the VSAT at the courtesy of ISRO Bangalore, with this bandwidth. And each evaluation minimum a nuclear medicine physician and one surgeon, and prior transmission of the case summary, radiology and the nuclear medicine images were transferred. This is just a picture to show you how it has been done with this is the, and this is the other side is Dr. Mohanty with the large crowd of patients for telefollow-up. Over the years, it has been 1 session per month. Now it has increased to 2 sessions per month for around 2 hours on a Wednesday. This is fixed, scheduled. So this has really prompted, there are some byproducts I have observed. Earlier days, people used to ring up sometime because we don't have such system that the patients will ring to the basically other administrative work, the people rather than doctor. Here, directly the doctor is accessed, not like US. So the difficulty was with the telemedicine. I think many patients when they ring up, I ask them whether you have emergency or you can come up later. Most of the time these are not emergencies, so obviously they will come to the telemedicine center in the next visit only. I think I have shown you, I am not showing you the data, I am just showing you the graph where you can see as the years pass by from 2003, this is gradually increasing. That indirectly says that the number of sessions, new patients and old patients, you can see the green mark is the old patients. Obviously the old patients will increase because they will need lifelong follow-up. But the acceptance of the people, how it has increased over time. Earlier days when I say the telemedicine, but remember one thing, I have at least personal experience, though not we have projected in data. There are a few patients who say, we don't like to come in telemedicine. There is no privacy. We can't ask because you are in a group. So what we are thinking gradually, probably we will segregate them from the group. We'll put a curtain or something so that they can discuss whatever they like. So coming to the discussion part, telemedicine technology has been utilized for diagnosis of thyroid disorders. I saw a couple of the publications initially when the Japanese Hiroshima, Nagasaki and the Chernobyl accident, they were following thyroid disorders as a group. Basically, they are monitoring epidemiologically to see the development of thyroid cancer in children. It has never been utilized for follow-up of thyroid cancer. So what we observed, I have told you that 50% patients almost didn't have to come, so that you can imagine the attendant and their. So what we get out of it is the satisfaction of the patient. The surgeon who was operated, he always looks for what happened to my patient. And also the nuclear medicine physician who admits them and also give intervention with radioiodine, he also needs the follow-up to see the recurrence. And saving of travel expenses of patient and relative, and avoidance of inconvenience and loss of working hours of the attendants as well as the patient. And hope this will be definitely cost effective. I think there is already a publication in with a telefollow of thyroid cancer by Dr. Misra and his group. So I strongly believe the consultation and follow-up of thyroid cancer patients following radioiodine therapy through telemedicine appears to be promising for a vast country like India with a limited tertiary care facility and with the limited super specialists available for this kind of treatment. I gave you an example from Tripura to Lucknow, including Calcutta, no radioiodine facility. This is in fact shameful, but in other hand, we have to devise some other alternative ways how to address these difficulties. Thank you all. Now the indirect clinical examination can be done by anybody, you can train them because they are very specific. In thyroid cancer, normally the recurrence is there in the neck, just to maximum up to the mediastinum, mostly the cervical lymph nodes. So in US or Europe setting where the doctors are lacking and the nurses are playing more active role as an advanced nursing practitioner, you can also train them. It's a question like what really you expect. If you have availability, you can do. Otherwise, to my mind, it looks you can train paramedics or nurses and you can get away with it. Because nowadays, with the availability of ultrasound, ultrasound is an excellent tool and it has been now proposed by whole endocrine society, nuclear medicine society, many societies, that you utilize ultrasound and you utilize the stimulated thyroglobulin assay and you can follow them for lifelong in their own area. So I think it's not necessary that a surgeon, that's what we initially developed, and I think unless Dr. Mohanty says that I am really extremely busy, he's there, so that then we'll, of course now he's telling that I am busy, because we have increased from 1 to 2 sessions, even according 2 hours for a surgeon is really difficult sometimes. Can I come?
I am Dr. Mohanty in fact, because we have developed this collaborative treatment group between our Cuttack Medical College and the Sanjay Gandhi Posted Institute of Medical Sciences. Now, as regards the use of paramedics for to be the surrogate examiner, I would like to say that patients get satisfaction when they see the surgeon sitting on that side, the nuclear medicine physician sitting on this side, and both of them discussing about him and taking a decision. So that gives a lot of satisfaction to the patient sitting with us. Now, unless I or the surgeon, whoever may be the surgeon, sits with him, he doesn't get satisfaction that my treatment, my disease is properly discussed or treatment planning is proper. So the surgeon sitting with him, taking a decision before the patient is referred to the remote side or the remote end, and then subsequently during follow-up, the patients usually come every 6 months. For about 20 years, they will be coming because endocrine cancers, they may relapse for about period 20 years. So these patients keep on follow-up for 20 years, initially every 6 months, and once they are declared disease-free, we keep them on follow-up yearly basis. So every year they come, and every time when they see the surgeon and the nuclear medicine physician sitting both sides, that gives a lot of satisfaction to them, and they feel so happy, now we are cured of the disease, only we are on follow-up. There are so many girls, young girls, we have operated, treated, declared disease-free, and allow them to marry, to have their children. And when we see them, they come with children to the telemedicine center to say, these are the two physicians, surgeons have treated us, and we are cured now. We are born children, and we are happy. So that gives a lot of satisfaction to the patients and the relatives.
I think in general for the awareness, the cancer terminology itself in our country, because of the lack of education, you see, I have seen, if you say, break the news that you have a cancer, they literally, really the tears comes out from them. And they can't really hope, because the neighbors also speak, because they equate with all kinds of cancers. They can't segregate between thyroid cancer and the leukemia. That's the major reason for which, if you are, I think Professor Mahanti is very much right, that if it is available, the same physician, not even they accept the other physician of nuclear medicine, if he can available who has treated and following them up for life, that will be most wonderful. And that's the reason for which the patient satisfaction. And probably that is the reason for which this follow-up is going up very high. And they really don't like to come over. Sometimes I ask them, do you like to come to Lucknow and see me again to examine? Very few patients. So that indirectly reflects that probably this tool can be utilized for this kind of follow-up, and this can be emulated for any kind of chronic disease management process. Thank you very much.